again, I would like to repeat here, based on my experience, actually the best practice is to follow some best model. For example, I become a researcher, so I follow the best model around the world in my area. For example, I'm working in the area of energy, heat transfer, exergy, thermodynamic analysis. So in my case, I see who are the best in the world. For example, Professor Ibrahim Dinsar, he's in Canada. So I see he's the #1 in our area. So I see where he published, what he published. So this is one model. Another model is, for example, I also follow one of the professor in Turkey, Professor Arif Hebbasli. So I see where he published, what he published, what's the content, and some of his papers also I dig out, why their papers are Q1, why their papers are highly cited. So these are the things also I do the homework. Similarly, I also suggest you to download some of the very high quality papers in top ranking journals, those which are really very good, the best model, and then you read them again and again, and you follow them, and this probably will give you the guidelines. So similarly, when I was writing my master's thesis, so when I submitted to my supervisor, so basically my supervisor was very, very unhappy because it was not well written. So then I was struggling how to find a best model, how to compare my work is up to the level. Then basically I started to download few North American good quality thesis. And that's how I compare my work with the North American high quality thesis. Those are available in ProQuest. And this is how also I improve my writing. And so when I submitted by the revised version, better version, so my supervisor was happy. So what I would like to highlight here, so always try to find the best model that will guide you to write a better quality of paper. So here is a limited time. I cannot share each and every aspect of my practice experience here. So some of the things I'm sharing here, some of the things you need to learn. What I feel is that the learning by doing is basically the best practice, and self-motivation is the best motivation. So literature review, as you have to search, you have to find, you have to collect. So this is systematically process your papers. So search them, list them, learn them, write them. So this is I have taken from some sources to make it in a systematic way. Tell readers what your paper is all about. Title of the manuscript needs to be short and relevant to the subject matter. So this is also one of the important things when I write a review paper. That is what I call a strategic review paper, actually, that reflects something, some unique features in the title that basically will entice the potential readers to read the title, read the abstract, and go into the deeper and deeper. Attract the reader's attention, general, broad, because this is a review paper. It should not be too specific. It should be for a broader audience, larger audience. As you know, the science and nature is basically, it addresses the larger audience, broader audience. So that's why the science and nature papers are highly cited. But you know, the rejection rate is 93, 95%. Whereas if we can write a very strategic review paper, as you have seen, they are also cited heavily. So that's why the topics should be broad, a bit general, and not too specific. So that's why when we write the original paper, it's something very specific. So that's why they are not cited much in some cases. So it should avoid jargon and abbreviation also. In title, normally these are discouraged if there are jargon, abbreviation, mathematical things. Basically, this only understood by those who are in those areas and who wrote the paper. So these are the things to entice, to write an attractive titles. These are some of the titles. As you can see, these are general, and some of the keyword, when we put this global, basically this is addressing many other countries' best practice, experiences. At the same time, we also address our local issues as well. For example, in some sections, I will address Malaysian scenario along with the global scenario. So these are some of the key terms, basically will entice more potential readers. So this is also based on my own homework. I found that these are the ways to entice the potential readers. So the biodiesel production, this is a review of solar photovoltaic technologies, progress and recent trends in biodiesel fuel. So these are also, again, I have collected from other sources, from other journal, and these are heavily cited review papers. So abstract, tell readers what you did and the important findings. this is same thing like original paper. Abstract should be short and concise. That's why the word limit is provided there. So this is a review paper. Normally original paper, it should be 150 to 160 within this range, but since this is the review paper, so word limit should be higher. So to make it short and precise, giving clear indication of what investigation has been described in the manuscript, and precise conclusions to entice the potential readers. It is the summary of the work. So keyword is not that important, but it is important for searching purposes. So if you provide the good keyword, actually it will help the searcher to find your paper, to get your paper. So this keyword also important. Introduction is basically the importance, need for this investigation, why this paper is important, and also the what are the novelties, what research gaps, what review gap has been highlighted with some specific applications. So here also, don't forget to give the proper citation credit to the others in writing, particularly those who are new. So when I was a new researcher, basically these are the things we sometimes did not get proper training. So sometimes we did also mistakes to give the proper credit. So particularly, this is the reason also I'm giving you the briefing, so that you know how to give the proper credit. Otherwise, it might be academic misconduct, plagiarism. So this is very important also to give the proper credit to others whenever you use others' work. So citation is important. Give the due credit to others. So it provides a context to convince the readers that you clearly know why your work is important. Basically, is to address the question of why, need for investigation. The introduction section should contain a brief statement of the need for the investigation, review up-to-date literature. So here again, up-to-date literature is, let's say, for last 5 years. Most of the literature should be latest relevant. Let's say now we are 2020. So let's say from 2015 until 2020. Majority of the literature should be within this range. However, you can take maybe few from previous year. That's also allowed. But majority should be from the latest and relevant. Specific objectives also should be there. This section should reflect the new contents of the review. Again, I need to highlight what is something new compared to the available literature. Again, this is very important. In original paper, we call it novelty. It is also novelty here. We call it the research gap. As you know, publishing in high quality journal is very, very challenging. And one of the most important reason is what is the novelty? What is the research gap? What is the review gap? So there are a number of review papers might be already in the literature. So if it is already similar, so it will be very hard for you to publish in good quality journals. So that's why identifying the novelty research gap is very, very important. So this is one example I have provided here. This is same thing what I do in my original paper also. Sometimes it is just written there. There is no work. There is limited work. Rather than highlighting in that one liner or one sentence, so I have provided here a very specific way. For example, the authors of the paper cited reference 8 have briefly discussed various solar PV technologies and so on. However, only few technologies were introduced while the main focus of this. So in references, the authors presented an overview of. So these are some of the things done by other researchers, what has been done by other review papers. So compared to other review papers, so what is something new in this review paper that need to be highlighted? So this is basically highlighted here. In reference 9, those are the presented an overview of various methods that can be employed for cooling cells. However, when looking closely, it can be seen that the focus of the paper was only the examining the passive and so on. Unlike the above mentioned review studies, this paper provides a comprehensive review. So this is something differently compared to the reference 8, 9, and so on. So this is clearly identifying the research needs, research gaps. So this will help you to go through the review process, and probably there will be possibilities that it can be published. So it is very important to know, because otherwise sometimes you may lose some of the important sources of literature. So during this review process, normally the reviewers, editors, if they are expert, they can identify that some of the important literatures are missed. It will not be rejected because of this paper, but since you are writing a review paper, so all the sources, all the relevant papers must be cited, must be critically analyzed, must be included in your review paper. So that's why the sources of literature is very, very important. So as you know, the Science Direct and Elsevier is one of the best source, one of the potential source. Almost 80% of literatures can be obtained there. Of course, there are, because it depends on the discipline. For example, the IEEE Explore, they also have specific publication platform. So if paper is relevant in that area, so you need to explore. So this is the reason I highlighted all the necessary databases here. These are some of the databases. There might be other databases also. So when you are writing a review paper, so I would strongly suggest that you explore all the relevant databases, platform, even Yahoo, Google's conference paper, original paper, review paper, as much as possible, so that reviewer cannot make comments that there is no, some of the papers are missed out. So now I'll be talking about the main body. So in this section, sometimes I hear the question that how much would be the, how many references should be there, how many pages should be there, and so on. So I have seen sometimes paper also very short, 5 to 10 references with few references and with few pages. I have seen 4 to 6 pages. That is one of the journal I published a number of good quality papers in renewable and sustainable energy reviews. In earlier times, I have seen some papers with only 4 or 6 pages with 5 to 10 references. That was quite long time ago, but that practice may not be hold at this recent time. So it can be up to 100 pages with 300 to 500 references. So these are again, in which journal you are going to publish. You see the author's guideline, some other guidelines there. You download some of the relevant papers. So at least a few papers you download and a few review papers you download, and you see how many references are provided, how many pages are there, what's the content. So if you download few model papers, I think that will give you the appropriate answer in which journals you are targeting. So there is no specific rules and regulations guidelines here, but that's why in my case, I restrict for my students not more than 50 double pages at the initial stage, and with 5 to 10 figures and tables. Because if I have seen some of my students write a paper 80 pages and 100 pages, and sometimes they don't want to, they argue with me that, okay, let's try. So sometimes I also allow them, but at the end, when it goes to the review process, particularly the editor and reviewer specifically mentioned, this is a too long paper. So definitely they have to concise, they have to reduce the paper. So again, it depends if you can write a good quality paper with within 20 pages, within 30 pages, it should be all right. So as long as it goes through review process, editor is convinced, reviewers are convinced with this short, precise paper, I don't see anything problem with that. So it is quite easy to publish in some journals. This is again my experience. As you know, we as a human being, some people are tough, some people are moderate, some people are very soft. Similarly, in publication platform also, some journals, some editors are very harsh, very strict, stringent, whereas some journals are, the moderate, quite lenient, convenient. So this is again the publication experience. So that's why I think the role of supervisors, collaborators sometimes can help you to publish when you face difficulties. So that's what I mean. In some journals it is quite easy, and in some journals it is quite difficult. So that's why the experience is needed, important, particularly not to demotivate the students, those who are new. So if it is submitted at very difficult journals, maybe after rejection a few times, students or the team might be demotivated. So this is again based on the experience, what I suggested here. However, it is really very difficult in some journals. I think I discussed the prepare a table of content first, and that table of content, once it is drafted, then let's discuss with the whole team and collaborators, and if any experts need to be identified from other parts of the world, engage them and make it a stronger table of content, and then the task can be distributed among all the team members. So that's why, in my view, in my case, in most cases, we give some special emphasis on developing a table of content. So this is basically the key things in writing a review paper. So it's just not simply a summary. Most critical elements is the critical review, key features of a review paper. So I will present some of the slides here, particularly to address what is meant by critical review, synthesis, critical evaluation. So try to pay some attention here. But again, I would like to also highlight that this may not be what I'm going to share here. This may not be perfect, and it is not each and everything. This is just my experience I'm going to share. So this is an example of a critical review in the form of a figure. As you can see, there are critical review is basically critically evaluating a number of references available in the literatures. So it can be in the form of a table, it can be in the form of a figure. As you can see, there are a number of references. So their data has been extracted. So there are software that can be used to extract data called the get data software. Some of my students mentioned they get in this way data. Some of the data you can pick from the graphs, tables, and figures. And this is how they came out with this critical heat flux with another x-axis. So this is what we call one examples in the form of a figure, critical analysis of others' results in the form of a figure. Definitely you need to discuss, you need to put the reasoning phenomena why these things happening here. So that's important. That's what we call also the critical evaluation, strength and weaknesses of the others' findings. This is another way of presenting critical evaluation of others' results in the form of a figure. This is in the form of a table. So as you can see, there are a number of references with some specific parameters. So different fields, these parameters can be different. But to me, the most important thing is this observation, findings, and limitations. So here basically also will help to identify what are the limitations there. This limitation basically will help other researchers to identify the novelties, what can be done in future. So this is another tables in the form of a critical analysis of others' results. So finally, I'm close to at the end of my presentation. So there should be conclusion. Again, the conclusion, you have some objectives. So based on your objectives, so some findings, the review findings should be highlighted here based on your stated objectives. So this is basically your concrete achievement findings of your work. It should be based on your objectives. So what are the literature findings? And along with that, I think that some future recommendations of future directions, future perspectives also should be highlighted. And those are the very useful things for new researcher and also those who are trying to write a new proposal, grant proposal, because some of the limitations, drawbacks are highlighted there. So this will be useful for new researcher to write a new proposal. Sometimes those are the very useful things. So that's basically also one of the purpose of writing a review paper. So the future perspective, after reading, after synthesizing, critically analyzing 300, 400, 500 papers. So definitely some of the research gaps, future perspectives can be clearly identified in specific paragraphs and sections. So again, I don't have enough time to address all those things. And as I mentioned, I have presented all those in 11th June in UPM presentation slide. So that was 2.5 hour presentation, how to write original papers, how to address the ethics, the impact assessment, scholarly impact assessment, pros and cons, each and every details are there. you can download, you can go through YouTube, so you can see each and every details with my personal experience is provided there. But this is very important, particularly in writing the review paper. So this can be checked, can be verified by content similarity software like Authenticate. Some journal accept maybe 20%, some maybe 15%, some maybe 30%. So there is no specific limit, but I think less than 20% should be better. In review paper, might be a little bit higher. Again, it depends on the editors, different journal, different level they accept. Then once it is identified, you can reduce, you can rewrite them, you can rephrase them, and you can improve in terms of content similarities. So when you take the, you are writing a review paper, so number of figures sometimes you need to take from other sources, so you need to get the copyright permission. And managing references for your thesis, for your review paper is very tedious job. 300, 400, 500 references managing is very, very difficult. And if paper is rejected in journal A, now you are going to submit it in journal B, definitely the format will be changed. So manually changing is extremely hard job, extremely difficult job. So that's why there is a software called the EndNote. Normally, the top universities has subscription of this software, so you can learn this from their library. Also, sometimes give a briefing on how to use the EndNote. Sometimes we also give the talk briefing presentation on this, how to use the EndNote. Normally, when we give the 2 days presentation publication seminar, we also include some of the topics, how to use EndNote, how to run EndNote, and also the how to address the content similarities. So these are the things also, and the publication ethics, other things also. For example, the authorship and some other things related with ethics also we should address. I don't have enough time, just I touch here, ethics, copyrights, and so on. So as I mentioned, it is not an easy task. Some people feel it is easy, but when I posted my writing in the Facebook, so many mentioned that it is much more difficult writing a review paper than writing original paper. So some may feel that it is an easy task. Actually, it is not. In some cases, some of our team members also fail to write a review paper. So there are obviously challenges. Anything we want to, any work we want to do, whether it is original review paper, particularly if you want to be a good researcher, you need to be steadfast. So there is no straight-cut way, there is no shortcut way. So you need to be steadfast, you need to be patient. And what I want to say, never give up. Why? Because paper might be rejected 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, maybe 7 times it will be accepted. So you have to keep all these qualities, attributes. Resilient. Sometimes rejected after submission of many times in different journals. So this happened in our case. Sometimes editor also says that you need to go to school and learn how to write the papers. So this always will happen. So that's why you need to be patient, steadfast, and never give up. Writing a review paper is more challenging than original paper. Sometimes, as I mentioned, the comments from editors, reviewers are really very, very annoying, maybe discouraging. So that's why I said you never give up. So you address the comments. So when I started my research in 1997, I drafted my first review paper. So the comments of that review paper was more than contents of the review paper, contents of the paper. So my supervisor told me that, yeah, don't be disheartened. Try to address. This is the learning process. This is the how to move from one stair to other stair. So he tried to motivate me that you address as much as possible in the next paper, and that's how we improve. So in my first original paper, basically that comments actually helped me to improve my first original paper. So when I drafted my first original paper, submitted in Energy Journal, that is one of the top journal in my field. Alhamdulillah, it was accepted with minor correction. That was my first paper. So without that experience, probably I would not write that good paper at the first instance. So these challenging comments from editors, reviewers, supervisors, collaborators is basically to ensure your quality, your writing skill, improving skill. So in writing, sometimes when you are a new student, definitely expert is a big problem. So that's why I think the role of supervisors, role of collaborators comes here. We need to invite collaborators, international collaborators, local collaborators, and of course the supervisor will be there. So this is the reason for the expertise. Okay, what I feel when I posted my comments in Facebook, so there are some comments also mentioned that it should not be written by students at the earlier stage. But as I mentioned, why I engage my students to write a review paper to improve their knowledge, to boost their confidence, and so on. Definitely, the students alone cannot write. So if it is leave it to the students, we never were successful. This is the role of the supervisor. Basically, they should be engaged. They should train. They should be continuously give the input and feedback. And this is how the students will improve, and the quality will be improved. So in my view, whatever, because the quality of those who are preparing a first review paper may not be that up to that level, but what we are doing, we are publishing 1 paper, 2 paper, 3 papers. For example, I have published 500 papers. So basically, we got the comments of 500 times 3. So 1,500 the reviewer comments. Basically, this helped me to boost my confidence. Similarly, if a new student submit a paper, he got the comments, he improved and further improved. To me, I think this is a learning process. So that's why we should not discourage our new students to write a review paper. Basically, through this review process, teamwork, collaboration will certainly help to improve someone improve their writing skill and knowledge, particularly writing the review papers. So once he or she finishes his master's and PhD, I think in that case, he or she can take a leading role to write a review paper. So at the initial stage, in collaboration with the other team members, with the supervisor's input, experience, definitely a review paper can be written. May not be up to that level. Again, by writing again and again, practicing again and again through the review process, I'm confident that quality can be improved. And this is the learning process. Okay, so with that, I would like to stop here. Yeah, thank you very much for your attention, for your time.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for your nice presentation and very informative and very constructive presentation.